The technique of meditation. It is necessary to understand the need for the direct experience of the real. It is essential that our brothers truly train in meditation. It is only possible to reach the experience of the truth through the technique of meditation. Only in the absence of the mind can we experience the real. And when we truly experience it, we come to feel within ourselves an element that transforms us radically. There is no doubt, my dear brothers, that the dissolution of the ego tends to be an arduous and difficult task. That is why the experience of the real, in the absence of the ego, in the absence of the mind, is very useful and necessary. Because when we experience, I repeat, the truth, we accumulate within certain forces that allow us to fight more effectively against the ego, against the self. Unfortunately, the mind lives in incessant chatter. It is not still for a moment. We have not even learned to think without words, and that is regrettable. We need a language to think. It would be interesting to know how to think without the need for words. The mind is constantly divided, battling antitheses, in the struggle of opposites. A mind like this, divided, cannot experience the truth. Jesus the Christ said, "Know the truth, and the truth shall set you free." But it is not possible to experience the real while the mind is divided in the battle of opposites. When the mind is still, when the mind is in silence, the new arrives. If we want to experience the truth, we need to learn to form the illuminating void within ourselves. Rare are those who have come to form the absolute void. Obviously, for this we need a suction pump. Fortunately, we have it within our respiratory system, with the extraordinary channels of Ida and Pingala, along which the prana flows. We also need a dynamo, and we have it, the will. We need a generator of energy, and it is established in our organism, in the creative organs. We must learn to manage these instruments if we truly wish to experience the real. The illuminating void is the holy Okidanoth. Omnipresent, omnipenetrating, omniscient. Clearly, the void, the holy Okidanok, originally emanates from the sacred absolute sun. Each solar system has its sacred absolute sun, and ours is no exception. From there the holy Okidanok emanates, the active Okidanok. Before manifestation, the Okidanok contains within itself the three primary forces of creation. I am emphatically referring to the holy affirming, the holy denying, and the holy reconciling. At the dawn of the Mahamanvantara, the active Okidanok, containing within itself the three basic factors of all creation, penetrates into the worlds but does not become entangled in them. This affirmation is exactly paralleled by the holy Okidanok on our planet Earth. When the dawn of the Mahamanvantara began, it penetrated into this, our planet, but did not become involved in it. This is truly how the holy Okidanok unfolded itself into the three primary forces. These, in India, are Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. In the Western world, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. In the annals of ancient Egypt, Osiris, Isis, Horus. These are three forces working independently, yet still united with the holy Okidanok. It is through these three primary forces that the divine architect has been able to create the universe. But at the end of the great cosmic day, at the end of the Mahamanvantara, the three forces once again merge and reintegrate with the holy Okidanok, to return to the sacred absolute solar. What we observe in the macrocosm is also repeated within the microcosmos man. Within each of us, in the deepest depths of our consciousness, in the very roots of our being, resides the holy Okidanok, omnipresent, omnipenetrating, omniscient, which connects us to the sacred absolute sun. Obviously, the holy Okidanok, eliminated itself, or better said, unfolded itself into those three factors known as Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, our most beloved Father, the most adored Son, and the most wise Holy Spirit. We, my dear brothers, need to go beyond all the positive and negative forces of nature. Even further, beyond the three primary factors of creation, in their manifestation, or endless process of modification, we need to escape the intellect, go beyond the body, the affections, and the mind. During meditation, we need the mind to be still, internally, externally, and at the center. When the mind is still, internally, externally, and centrally, the Tao arrives, that is, the real. If we decide to form the illuminating void within ourselves, it is obvious we will come to experience the Holy Okidanok. I also want to say emphatically to our brothers who are gathered here tonight in the third chamber, that the mystical experience of the real is often such a transcendental event that it causes terror. Fear must be abandoned. Because in the illuminating void we come to realize that we are nothing more than drops of the great ocean. It is in the Holy Okidanok where the drop is lost in the ocean, and the ocean in the drop. Consciousness then dissolves, expands in such an extraordinary way that we feel ourselves transformed into trees, into mountains, into birds, into worlds, into comets that roll through infinite space. In the Holy Okidanok, upon seeing oneself become a tree, water, etc., one feels fear of annihilation, and the dread of death is often unbearable. Samadhi is lost, the ecstasy, and one returns to the world of forms. But if one has courage in that world and can endure it serenely, one will understand that beyond all aspiration is the great reality, which is the sacred absolute sun. If no fear causes us to lose the ecstasy, we will bravely penetrate the sacred absolute sun. There is where we will experience the truth. There we will come to know the laws of nature as they truly are. In this world, we only know the mechanics of phenomena, mechanical associations and effects, but in the sacred absolute sun we know the laws of nature as they are in themselves. The entire universe is contained in the sacred absolute sun, omni-intelligent. The past and the future unite there, in an eternal now, within an eternal present. There we will know all that is, all that has been, and all that will be. There we will be beyond time and far beyond the mind. When we experience the truth, we feel a tremendous inner impulse that allows us to struggle more effectively against the ego, against the self, against the I, and to disintegrate it. And for that reason, precisely, we must learn to form the illuminating void. It is urgent to wisely use the generator apparatus, the suction pump, and the dynamo. Undoubtedly, the generator apparatus produces energies that ascend through the spinal channels of Ida and Pingala. We must harness sexual energy for samadhi. To form the absolute sun in the void is what matters, and it can be done. Seated, in a comfortable position, we inhale, and as we inhale the prana, we imagine the energy rising from the creative organs to the brain. Inhale with the mantra HAM and exhale with the mantra SAH. HAM SAH is the mantra of meditation. HAM to inhale, SA, I repeat, to exhale. On inhaling, the mantra may be vocalized mentally, HAM, but on exhaling, it is articulated with the creative larynx, SA. The mind, in that moment, must be completely still, I repeat, internally and externally. The inhalation becomes deeper each time, and the exhalation ever shorter. Today we will practice here so that you may learn the technique, but you must continue with the same practice at home, daily and without fail, until one day you achieve the experience of the illuminating void, until one day you experience the truth. Jesus the Christ said, "Know the truth, and the truth shall set you free." Whoever has come to experience the truth is obviously charged with a formidable energetic potential that allows them to struggle more effectively against the ego, to dissolve it, disintegrate it. We need to accumulate forces within ourselves because we are too weak, and only the sacred absolute sun can grant us those forces. So then, my dear brothers, let us do this practice. I repeat, you must practice daily at home. Well, all seated comfortably, inhale very slowly through the nostrils, mentally pronouncing the mantra HAM, exhale, SA. Inhale, exhale, SA. Continue indefinitely, without thinking about anything, eyes closed, trying to fall asleep. Inhalation should become slower and deeper, exhalation should become shorter and quicker. The body completely relaxed, dozing, without thinking about anything. From the outside inward, in a simple manner, with each deeper inhalation, forces flow inward. Sexual forces. The deeper the inhalation, the deeper the inward and upward movement of the sexual energies. Therefore, exhalation becomes shorter. At the highest spiritual flights, for the great athletes of meditation, only inhalation remains. During samadhi, breathing must be suspended, something impossible, but true and real. When the essence is submerged in the holy Okidanok, it perceives things in themselves, as they truly are, and not as they apparently are, and it transmits everything to the personality, to the mind. Here in the person, the personality, the intellectual and emotional centers come into harmony with the mind, which remains receiving the vibrations sent by the essence from the illuminating void. Upon losing the samadhi and returning to the personality, the memory remains in the mind. If we organize the sexual forces in a centripetal form, that is, always vibrating from the outside in, and not from the inside out, nocturnal emissions cease, which are so frequent in all human beings, because once the sexual energies flow from the outside inward, nocturnal emissions end. This is very important.